Let's fight, Bill. Come on. Let's put up your dukes.
Well, Chet, the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight is coming up. It's gained a lot of attention. It's Friday night. It's easy to forget that Mike Tyson is 58 years old.
And the fact that he is going back into the ring for this fight on Netflix, by the way, gave me an idea recently. Let's get a legendary South Philly boxer on the show to talk about it.
Yeah. We got to meet, or you have met him before. I got to meet Tim Witherspoon at the banquet the other night, Philly Sports Banquet. And then we got to talk to him, visit with him Monday. So we taped this part of the interview, but what an interesting guy.
We did tape the interview, and at one point, Tim kind of casually mentions that he took a dive in a fight where he was defending his title in late 1986, something that apparently he had previously admitted in a book 10 years ago. But it left us somewhat speechless, as you will see and hear in this interview. So, Bill, we've been doing Philly Pressbox Radio for 10 and a half years, and this is our first ever visit from a former heavyweight boxer, a two-time champion boxer to boot. How about that?
Yeah, that's fantastic. A lot of times they'll say former champion or something like that. You don't say former Stanley Cup champion or former Super Bowl champion. Tim Witherspoon is a two-time world champion.
Yeah, and a great guy to boot. Let's bring him on stage with us. Tim Witherspoon, welcome. How you doing, man?
Hey, Tim.
Good. Everything good. How you guys doing?
Doing
all
great.
right.
Okay.
Hey, let's get to it. Most people in this area know, if they follow boxing and all that, you are from Philadelphia, South Philly to be precise. How did you get into boxing at a young age?
I was playing football. I had a scholarship. I was an all-Philadelphia tight end. I made all tight end. I went to university and I got hurt. A big linebacker, I caught a pass and linebacker hit me. I was doing real good. I started as a freshman. So when I left the college and came home, there were a couple of people in the neighborhood. Buster Drayton, who was a junior middleweight champ. He went on, I seen he was going to the gym. So I said, hey, let me try it. So I went to the gym with him, and that's what started it. The old Passion Gym is right near the Italian Market, right in back of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, hey, Tim, you started boxing in 1979. You boxed for 24 years. How does the mind and the body physically and mentally prepare to fight for 24 years?
Well, you gotta trust in the beginning. You're learning, and you gotta trust by the older people that's already in it. They're the ones that guide you through everything. So I got in it. I didn't really know what it was. I never thought to be a heavyweight champion of the world. I just wanted to box. Then as it went on, everything started moving fast. I said, I could be champion of the world. Started out boxing, started out amateur, and then I started thinking about it. Oh, the champ, I could be the champ. And so everybody around you kind of like mold you into it and get you ready for it. All your friends and people that you trust.
And a pretty amazing career it was. You had a record of 55, 13, and 1. And in 1983, at a time when you were getting lots of attention as a legitimate title contender, you fought the Easton assassin, Larry Holmes, and it went the distance. You lost a split decision. What do you remember about the fight, and did the judges get it right?
Well, first of all, when I learned that you have to do more than beat the champ. He's there. He's got a big name, and you can't just beat the champ. There we go. You just can't beat him. You got to do a little bit more than him to convince the judges. And I learned about that later on in my career, that you just can't beat him. You got to do just a little bit more than beat him. And, I had a great trainer. We took away his jab. We was in training camp. Guys with really good jabs and was blocking jabs for 2.5 months, a month and a half, blocking jabs. And we took his jab away, which was his power. So I felt I won. A lot of other people felt I won. I was just really happy that I got in there and did a really good job against one of the greatest boxers on that era, Larry Holmes. Big heart, Larry.
Yeah. Hey, Tim, you also sparred with Muhammad Ali along the way. What part of your career did that all take place? Was that very early on?
Yeah, that was early. He was getting ready to fight. Larry Holmes. Yeah. Matter of fact, we was in his training camp, And I was getting ready for a fight. I think I was sparring with Matthew Saad Muhammad, one of the greatest light heavyweights. I was sparring with him, and I sparred with Eddie Mustafa too, Eddie Gregory of New York. So we in the training camp sparring, and guess who comes in? Muhammad Ali pulls up in the car. Everything stops. Everything stops. So he said, "No, keep going." So I'm boxing, I'm sparring, and then when we was finished, he said, "Hey, it's a good chance that I'm fighting Larry Holmes." And he said, "I want you as a sparring partner." So that was beautiful meeting him in his own camp. He came in with a snotty tissue, no jewelry, a basic shirt. He was just coming when he didn't come in like that. The dudes today with all the jewelry and all the big stuff. And I was like, man, that's the champ of the world. He's a real champ.
Did you get a little starstruck? How could you not, right?
Yeah. Here I am. I'm a sparring partner for one of the light heavyweight champs, and here could a real big heavyweight champ come in, and that kind of like motivated me a lot too. I'm with the champ, and I was a sparring partner. I did real good, and there's some things I could tell you about what happened to him.
Well, I did see, I watched you on another podcast and you were talking about it, and you said, this was late in Muhammad's career. So it was clearly not the Muhammad Ali that we remember from the late 60s and 1970s, right?
Yep, he was sick. I witnessed the beginning stages of his sickness. Because when I was sparring with him, I couldn't hit him like this. It was so easy to hit him. And he was really strong. So I went back to the corner and said, Slim, something wrong with Muhammad. And he said, yeah, Tim, I've been noticing that for a couple of days. He said, don't ball your fists up. He said, just leave it like this. And he said, pull back on the punches. So I only went hard on his body, but it was easy to hit him in his head. Later on in the training or after the fight, that's what we found out and knew that he was sick. So Larry Holmes was robbed out of fighting the great Muhammad Ali because he was sick. And I'm a witness to it. I was right there, right at the Ali's camp. He was weak. He was weak. He shouldn't have never fought Larry Holmes. Yeah. I'm a witness. I was there, and I was his sparring partner.
Wow. Well, hey, Tim, you were part of kind of like a golden era, I guess, of heavyweight boxing with Ali, Frazier, Foreman, yourself, Holmes, that whole bunch.
Yeah, they were before me.
Right, and you led up into that and then ultimately into Tyson, I guess. But what has happened to heavyweight boxing? It seems to kind of have lost a little bit of its pizzazz.
Yeah, what happened, what I think happened too, with a lot of the different weights, is that a lot of the great trainers passed away and left their knowledge. I'm privileged to get a lot of that knowledge before that happened. There's a lot of trainers from Philly, and New York and Jersey, but mainly Philly. Everybody was talking about Philly and the trainers there. And Georgie Benton, Slim Robinson, Jimmy Arthur, all those trainers, they passed away with their knowledge. And today you see boxers just throwing punches, but you don't see the art of slipping, relaxing, boom, like Rocky Marciano come in and slip, bang, bang. All you see is this. There's nobody, they're not teaching them defense. Everybody's all offense. So I'm glad I came in through that period, because those trainers taught you both. That everybody just throwing all offense and people getting hit with punches and not really blocking. The art of boxing, the sport of it, offense and defense. They just teaching offense today.
So 1984, you beat Greg Page to win the WBC title. You end up losing then to Pinklon Thomas. But in 86, you win the WBA title by beating Tony Tubbs. What does it feel like to become not only a heavyweight champion one time, but then to win it a second time?
The thing about winning the championship, I wasn't really happy doing it. I wasn't getting really, the promoter was Don King. I win the title, but I didn't get paid accordingly to what what I was doing. So when I was doing in my mind, I wasn't really focused on the fights. I wasn't getting treated properly financially, like management. Don King was the manager and the promoter. I do believe he is the greatest promoter that ever lived, but the only thing that keep him from reaching the top is that he didn't do the right thing financially with the boxers. We didn't get the right pay. Yep. I knocked out Frank Bruno in England. I was the champ. Frank Bruno got $1.4 million. I went home with like $200,000.
Wow.
So he was the great artist. Hey, you know, with the hair and everything. He was number one at that. But when it came to business, he didn't treat the boxers right. You know, I love everybody. I love him, but I just don't like what he did. I don't like what he did.
I hear you.
Well, he ended up costing you a pile of money. It sounds like, that's for sure.
It did. It cost. Imagine going into the fight like that and then going home and you knocked the guy out and I went home with way less. And then one fight when I fought Tubbs, the government came in and took my money, all the money, and I was only getting $50,000 when I fought Tony Tubbs for a championship fight.
Wow.
I don't know what Tony was getting, but I got $50,000 for fighting Tony Tubbs for the heavyweight championship of the world, and the IRS came and took all of it. I had to borrow money from Don.
Oh,
He lent me $5,000.
Wow.
Oh, man.
True story.
Oh, I believe it. Hey, so you beat Tubbs, you beat Frank Bruno to defend the title, but then you fight a guy who you had previously beaten, Bonecrusher Smith. You were a heavy favorite. What happened, Tim?
Okay, so this is when Tyson was coming in, and we knew that Don King wanted him. He didn't care about none of the heavyweights. When we was in training camp, he came to the camp and got everybody together, the heavyweights, and he was like, "Hey, guys, this young kid, Mike Tyson, he's coming on the scene." He said, "Y'all better get ready because he's a really mean dude." So he deliberately came in and told us and getting us ready. He was just setting us up as opponents. So I'm fighting Bonecrusher, right? So I was supposed to fight Tony Tubbs, give him a rematch.
Yeah.
So something happened with Tubbs. Tubbs got hurt or something, and we broke camp for like 7 to 10 days. They called us back saying, "Hey, the fight's still on." I said, "Hey, I broke camp." He said, "No, you fighting Bonecrusher now." And I was like, I can't get ready for Bonecrusher. I laid off for like 7 days. We wasn't training. And then I said, "Look, man," my team said, "Look, I'm tired. It's time for us to fight Don again. It's time for us to fight him." And so we decided to, and I hate to say this, not really, I don't hate to say it, but I decided to fall on 3. If you look at the first fight, I almost shut Bonecrusher out, but I wasn't in shape. So I told my trainers, and I said, "Look, man, I'm not going in there and get hurt by Bonecrusher. I'm not even in shape." So I told him I'm going to go down in 3. And then we're going to get our lawyers. We're going to have a team and fight Don. And so I'm not telling this Bonecrusher, "Oh, I knocked you." I said, "Bone." I went down. If you look at the fight, I went down. 3 knockdown rule. I was the happiest man. The best thing out of that fight is he knocked a teeth that I had that was bothering me out. Yeah. And you can see the referee, somebody handed me the teeth.
Man.
So really, it was a political thing, and that's when everything started. When the Bonecrusher fight. And I feel sorry for Bone. Bone said, I said, "Bone, we planned to go down in 3. And if you look at the fight, I'm acting, and I went down in 3. And there's a lot of people think that I did get knocked out, but I didn't. I was the happiest person. And when you look at the end of the fight, you see me like, whew, I'm glad it's over. Then we had lawyers. We went back, and I feel sorry for Bone.
Wow. Oh, Tim, when you get ready to fight, say, a Larry Holmes or somebody like that, what's your training regimen? How you said about breaking camp for 7 to 10 days? It doesn't sound like a lot to the regular average fan. How many months out do you start training, and do you train every single day for X amount of hours?
Yeah, you train. Well, real quick, you would get up in the morning and run 3.5, 4 miles. Not every day. Then you would come back. You would eat breakfast. You had to cook. They're cooking you breakfast, and then you take another break, and then you go into the gym. There's other boxers that do stuff before they go to the main training. The main training where you spar, hit the heavy bag, hit the pads. So there's a lot you could do before that. And so I did a lot of chopping wood, and now they're doing the hammer. And that I got knockouts every time I chop wood and stuff. And then you have the team around you motivating you to get ready for your fight. So it was a beautiful thing. You have all your sparring partners, everybody pushing you, and then when the bell rings, that's when the real thing starts. So, I did a lot of chopping wood and a lot of, but real quick in the beginning, a lot of the old trainers didn't want you lifting weights, and now I look back and say, man, I messed up. The old trainers didn't want us lifting weights. Now you had Tyson and Holyfield them lifting weights and doing cardio. And if I would have been doing that, God knows where I'd have been. Because I didn't lift weights. All we did was did cardio. The old timers didn't want you doing that. Huh. And I look back, I said, man, if I was just like his muscles like Tyson and Holyfield, I would have did way more than what I did.
Well, as a quick follow-up to that, did you leave home? Or did you leave home and go live at your training facility?
Yeah. You can't stay home. There's a lot of temptations.
Too many distractions.
Yeah, too many distractions. And I think that for any of the boxers out there, go away. Don't stay home. There were boxers. They stayed home. They did good, and then some, and it caught up with them. But I advise them to get away from all the stuff that's at home.
Tim, we got less than 5 minutes left. We need to talk about what's happening this Friday in Dallas, a special match that'll be carried live on Netflix. Yeah. 27-year-old Jake Paul against 58-year-old Mike Tyson. What should we expect out of that battle?
Well, the thing is that it could be like some type of plan where both of them going to go in the back of the room and decide on what they're going to do. There's a lot of people think it's maybe be a real fight. I think the top 20, the top 30 heavyweights in real boxing take Jake Paul out in the first 3-4 rounds. So I don't know. I did a celebrity boxing thing with Sandman, and I knocked him out. It was planned. I wasn't supposed to hurt him, but this is like an upper class, I think, one. Jake Paul knows deep down inside he can't beat Mike Tyson. And I don't know if they're taking people money, but it's a good thing. There's a nice thing where people, Jake Paul, let's see if he get. Come on, Jake Paul can't beat some of the retired guys like me. If I was in shape, I'll beat Jake Paul. So Tyson is in good shape. Jake is playing it on. They're getting the money and they're just gonna leave. Why didn't he fight somebody in the top 10? Because he knew he would have got beat. So they picked Tyson. They picked Tyson or somebody with a name so they can make money.
So Tim, you're living in the Philadelphia area. You work as a trainer, right? And you have some guys in your little stable.
Well, my son has a boxing gym in Bristol, and I'm in Ben Salem. I visit there sometimes, but like there's a guy coming from Canada that I'm a train. That's what I do. I was going back and forth for England and Ireland, and I was setting up things to have a big gym and everything, and that didn't go down right. But now I'm going to train this heavyweight. They're sending them in for like 10 days. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to train him, get him sharp. He's going to go back. And I'm really good at teaching. I can help a lot of those guys out. Because I had some of the old-time teachers helping me and training me, all of them, Georgie Ben, but Slim was the main one.
Tim, when I talked with you about a month ago at a Darren Dalton Foundation event, you mentioned something, I believe, about a documentary about you and your life and career. Is that still happening?
Yeah. Like I was telling you before this, when they say in the 2-time heavyweight champ for Philly, Rocky Balboa, in real life, I did the same thing. I was born and raised 10 minutes from the Italian market. My mom used to take us to buy groceries. We used to wave like he did, like we knew everybody at the Italian market. I used to play baseball right next to the Italian market. There was a baseball field. I played there, and then I went on to become the real 2-time heavyweight champ, Rocky Balboa, the Tim Witherspoon. So the real 2-time heavyweight champ in Philly is. You're standing right on your show.
There you go.
See that belt back there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so and I walked the red carpet with Sylvester Stallone and Michael Hasselhoff in Las Vegas when one of those Rocky things was going on. I was with him and in Vegas and sat in there where they had the press conference and stuff like that. But in real life, I'm the 2-time heavyweight champ of the world. So we're doing a documentary about everything about my whole life. So tune in, okay?
Absolutely. One final question for me, Tim. You mentioned George Benton a couple times. And we got to you were there, and Chet and I were both there. We got to see him inducted into the Philly Sports Hall of Fame the other night. I did not know the whole story about how George became a trainer. What a story! I mean,
I didn't know either. I was talking to people. Can you briefly tell me?
Well, about him being shot as a kid, trying to protect his family, which knocked him out of boxing, which turned him into a trainer, and then I guess champion after champion, gold medalist, so on and so forth.
Yes.
What a great story for a local guy that you seem to have had some time with.
Nice and calm dude. I used to go to Joe Frazier's gym. And Joe, let me tell you about, Georgie Benton was a hell of a guy. He's quiet. He was really respectable. And when he came to the gym, so when I was going down to Joe Frazier's gym, and he was calling me Wooder. He said, Wooder, because I was training there. I had to go down and train for like a couple of months. And he's Wooder. And like he's showing me how to put that weight on the less thing. So I'm in England. Over in England, and like Joe Frazier flew over, he's doing the tour. We was doing the tour together. And I was telling his agent, I said, man, I feel special, man. Joe gave me a special name. And he said, what? I said, yeah, he called me Wooder. He don't say Witherspoon. And his agent said, you know what? He can't say Witherspoon. That's why he called me Wooder. And I said, what? I said, well, I thought I was special. He said, no, he can't say Witherspoon. He said, I know, because I was with him when we was talking about it. Yeah, he called me Wooder. And I thought that was special, man. Thank you guys for having me on. I have a lot of knowledge for the young people.
Yeah.
And my energy, y'all just woke me up again.
Hey, Chet, that was a lot of fun.
That sure was, man.
I don't know if everybody, obviously didn't know when it was coming, like we didn't know it was coming, but both of our faces when he said that he took the fall.
I'm like,
You even texted me and said, "Did he say he took a dive?" Yeah,
we should have followed up right there, but I was just like, maybe I didn't hear it right.
I was stunned. Oh. But hey, it was great having Tim on. We're going to have him again. Yeah, he was.
And we'll definitely have him back next year. And Joe said we should have more boxers on because a lot of them probably have great stories.
Absolutely.